Alright, what's going on, everybody? First, let me also say, make sure you do your research when you call in these companies. And I'm gonna go ahead and apologize ahead of time. This video might be all over the place, but I'm gonna try to attempt to start from the front and make my way to the end. Alright, so topic of the day's discussion is TransAm Trucking. So when I was deciding to go OTR, I had only applied to two companies, which was Schneider and TransAm. Schneider, I think I applied to TransAm first, and they got back to me real fast, and they was trying to set me up to go to orientation. And the position I had applied for was the Texas regional position, and Texas regional position gets paid 50 cents a mile. You're supposed to be home once a week for a 34-hour reset, and I believe you're only supposed to travel like a 5-state radius from Texas. So I believe it was like Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas, and there may be one more state, don't remember. Me personally, I didn't care, because at 50 cents a mile, if you do the math, I was sitting here like, as long as they give me 2,500 miles, I should make a decent paycheck after taxes. And I should also be home every weekend, or at least once a week, because you have no designated day to be home. So you wasn't going to be home every weekend or every Monday and Tuesday or something like that. So whenever your 34-hour reset, whatever day it falls on, or the upcoming day it falls on, you're supposed to be home for that. I was told I should not have to do a 34-hour reset in the truck. That's what I was told. So long story short, I go ahead and hit them up. I didn't go with them at first. I ended up going with Schneider at first, and then once I had my little hiccup with Schneider, I went ahead and went over to TransAm on the Texas regional position. And so starting with orientation, they sent me a bus ticket. From Houston to Dallas. I got out to orientation started on a Wednesday. I went out there on a Tuesday night. Some Uber came and picked me up, or a cab came pick me up, dropped me off at the hotel. And then from Wednesday to Friday, TransAm has their own little bus that will come and pick you up from the hotel and bring you to orientation. So first day of orientation, you're pretty much just going over, rules and regulations, learning how to work the tablet, doing some simulator load deliveries and stuff like that. You get breakfast from the hotel. Lunch, they get you some type of sandwich or something like that. Dinner, you gotta get your own dinner, right? So second day, Thursday, I'm trying to remember if we went on the yard that day. So they give everybody, or at least all the experienced drivers, you get you have to do a little course, or a driving test around this little course. And the course, if you're an experienced driver, this course is gonna be, I have to say, it's simple and easy, man. It's not hard at all. I don't believe it's time, but then again, I could be wrong or mistaken. I don't actually remember. The way they did it for us, they had the instructor pretty much show us the full course, and then they also had a walkie-talkie in the truck once you got in there. So if you didn't remember exactly, where to make your little turn or whatever, they would sit there and tell you, all right, hey, go straight, make a left, go make a right, go outside the stop sign, go on this side, just like that. So like I said, it was pretty simple. If I'm not mistaken, I went first, and yeah, I did go first, and I did the course. The walkie-talkie didn't even work when I was in the truck, but I was paying attention, so I watched the whole course. And once I got done, I told her, I said, hey, the walkie-talkie didn't even work. She was like, oh, so you're telling me you did the whole course just from watching it once? I was like, yeah, it wasn't that hard, And I pretty much did it better than the actual instructor, which I'm just going to say maybe because he had a cast on his leg, maybe that was the reason why he, might have, flimsied it up a little bit here and there. But, it was, like I said, it wasn't a hard course at all. So once you pass the course, then the next day you're supposed to get your truck, which is Friday. You're supposed to get your truck, and then they're supposed to dispatch you on a load. Well, for me, the truck that they had assigned to me it was in the shop, so I had to wait till Monday. So I pretty much sat in the hotel for the whole weekend, and you don't get paid for that, or at least I don't think I got paid for that. And eventually they hit me up on Monday morning saying, hey, your truck is ready. And at this time, I think it was like 10 o'clock in the morning. They said the truck is ready. They're sending an Uber to come get me. I told them to hold on. Let me shower and stuff first. And they end up sending me a flex Uber where they send you a text message to your phone. And whenever you're ready for the Uber, you just click on the little button or whatever, and then the Uber will be dispatched to you. So I get to the terminal, and from the hotel to the terminal is probably maybe a good 5 minutes. I guess depending on which way you go. So I get over there to the hotel waiting, and I go, looking for the truck. I didn't see it in the on the yard. The truck is still in the shop, And so at this point, while the truck is in the shop, I went to the shop and I asked him. I said, "Hey, can I get a bottle of oil, a bottle of coolant, windshield washer fluid, and some Glad hand seals?" And they pretty much told me no. They were like, if you need to buy anything, buy it out on the road. We don't give you any of that. And they have it there, but it's, if I'm not mistaken, no, they might have gave me some Glad hand seals. And when I say some, I think they only gave me like 2. So, I mean, they're pretty much saying if you need anything, buy it out on the road. You got to get it approved. And then, they send you the money. You got to send the receipt in so you don't be charged for it, so they don't take it out of your check. So, it was irritating already, but it wasn't that big of a deal. Got the tablet and everything situated in the truck. Had the dispatch up. Well, and before I even got dispatch on the load, I went and met with my actual dispatcher face to face. And I was pretty much trying to get a feel for them. I guess they apparently do the same thing for the drivers. And I told him straight up, I said, look here, I'm a straight shooter, no bullshit, straight to the point. I'm here to make money, I'm here to run miles, and if you keep me running and you get me home like you're supposed to, I'll be here for a little minute. But if you don't, then obviously gonna do what I need to do to keep it moving. So after I met him, like I said, it seemed like we had a really good understanding at first. And it seems like once I got dispatched, all that went out the window. Everything we talked about, it went straight out the window. And so what ended up happening was they got me a water load from Dallas to Oklahoma. And I had to find a trailer on the yard. And so apparently the trailer that they had assigned to me was already gone. It wasn't there. So I went and talked to the shop. Shop was like, oh, we just had this trailer just come out. Go ahead and take it. I called it in. Hey, I'm taking this trailer right here. He said it just came out of the shop. It's ready to go. But while I'm hooking up to the trailer, the driver comes whipping around the yard. Oh, that's my trailer. That's my trailer. I said, hey, look here, man. I don't know what to tell you. I've already got this trailer assigned to me. I already got a load dispatched on me. I'm leaving. That's pretty much how it went down. I told him, hey, I'm sorry. Make some calls, whatever. I was already hooked up to it. I wasn't finna drop it. So go pick up the first load. Wasn't no issues. I had already been to this place before with Schneider, so I already knew the process and everything. And then if you've ever carried any water loads or soda loads, these loads are heavy. They're pretty much between 44 to 46,000 pounds. And you're gonna have to use your magic to weigh the load out, so you don't be overweight on any of your axles. So once I get loaded, I'll get loaded probably a little after 5 p.m. that evening, and that load needed to be delivered by 8 a.m. the next morning. So pretty much making me run throughout the night. I'm not a night runner. I don't like running overnight. I like to shut down no later than 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and get back rolling early in the morning. I'm not one of those guys that wants to drive, to 1, 2, 3, or 5 o'clock in the morning. That's not me. I will do it, and I have done it, but only to make sure, if that's gonna get me to shut down at my ship or receiver, then I will run throughout the night. Other than that, if I got a lot of time on my hand, a lot of miles left on my clock, I'm gonna run it to about 8 or 9 o'clock at night, maybe 10, and then I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. So I got the load. I started heading toward Oklahoma. Majority of Oklahoma scales are always open, or at least they're open till about midnight. So it was coming into like 10 o'clock that night, and I was getting ready to come to the Oklahoma scale. So I was like, well, let me go ahead and try to weigh the load. I pulled off to a TA off of 35, and they really didn't tell us or explain it to us about how they weigh the loads or how they send the money for you to even weigh the loads. Or maybe they did and I just didn't pay attention because I was already used to using the Weigh My Truck app, which, you link your fuel card to the Weigh My Truck app. And once you pull up on the scale, the fuel card is going to pay for your scale. And then, you have it on the app. It tells you your weights. If you want to get an actual printout of the scale, which would be something like this. This is a scale ticket right here. If you've never seen one, this is one right here. It costs $12 for the scale ticket that you usually pay for with your fuel card. So like I said, I was using the Weigh My Truck app, trying to use the Weigh My Truck app to weigh the scale, to weigh the truck. It kept declining. I think I tried it like 10 times and it declined. So I had to press the little button on the scale. They weighed it manually from the inside. I don't know how they do that. They do it from the inside. Then you pull off the scale and you come inside and pay for it, and then you get the actual scale to see what your weights are. So I went inside thinking I could pay with the fuel card. That didn't work, and so I had to go back outside. I called up TransAm, talked to overnight dispatch. They're like, yeah, you have to get the scale approved first. It seemed like first you gotta get approved to weigh the truck, and then once you get it approved, they send you a number for the check. And then you got to activate the check with the number. And long story short, when I was trying to do that, I think I tried like 8 different checks and all of them declined. Like every single check that I had, the eight that I tried, they were bad checks. They were either already used or it wasn't going through. So after spending about an hour trying to weigh the truck, and if you've ever weighed a truck before, it don't take literally takes about a minute. You pull up on the scale, weigh the truck, pull off, go inside, get your ticket, and you be back on the road. I was there for an hour trying to weigh this damn truck, trying to get the check approved, and it would not go through. So I literally just got irritated. I said, man, fuck it is what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and run it. I've been pretty good with my weights, so like with knowing the total weight and seeing how far back the trailer is loaded, I've been pretty good at put it in the correct hole, and then I would more than likely not be overweight. So that's what I went on my gut, because like I said, I was having issues trying to weigh the truck, and it was late at night too, and I was already getting irritated. I hadn't ate because I was trying to get on the road to get to my delivery. And so what happened was, I get to Oklahoma scale, I get pulled onto the scale, and they gave me the green light after they weighed me. So I guess my weights were somewhat, they were legal. That's all I can tell you. So I go ahead and do my thug thizzle. I get on down the road to my delivery. If I'm not mistaken, I get there between noon and 1 o'clock in the morning. Do a post trip. I notice I have a flat tire on the trailer. So I go ahead and call it in at that time that I have a flat tire on the trailer. I didn't get my hours back to drive until, so I got there around midnight. I didn't get my hours back to drive till about 10 o'clock the next morning, or that morning. So I called it in. I said, hey, I got a flat tire. My delivery is at 8 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and creep into a spot to get unloaded, but I need this tire to be changed before my 10-hour break is up. So long story short, I get up that morning, 7:45. I go outside to check the truck, still flat. Nobody ever came out and changed it. I go ahead and creep into a dock. They unload me within, I say, 20-30 minutes. I was unloaded. Obviously, I still didn't have enough time to get back on the road, so I creeped back into a spot, and I laid back down. And at that time, I called in again. Hey, nobody still came to change the flat tire. I get my hours back to drive in about an hour or hour and a half or so. I need somebody to get out here. We can get somebody out here before my 10-hour break is up. You know what I'm saying? That would be good. Long story short, somebody calls me at 11 o'clock. Oh, hey, I see you got your hours back, but I understand you had a flat tire. I'm like, yeah, and nobody still came to come out and change it. Long story short, some dude comes out at 12:30, change the tire, and then had the nerve to say, all right, sir, so how are you going to pay for it? I said, what you mean, how am I going to pay for it? I said, the company called you out. You might want to get in contact with them because you're not going to get no money from me. And he's like, all right, cool, so it took another 30 minutes for him to go back and forth with TransAm to see, how he was going to get paid. And once they figured it out, I signed a little paperwork, then I was good to go. But I was already irritated because at this time, I've been off duty or in sleeper berth for damn near 13 hours already. So I'm 3 hours behind from when I got my hours back to drive for me to be driving. So in that time frame, they sent me a load, and if I'm not mistaken, that load ended up canceling or they gave it to somebody else. So I had to sit there and wait about another hour. Then they sent me another load, which I went and picked up, which if I'm not mistaken was a 3-stop drop, which I don't like drops. I mean, I only like I want a 1 pickup, 1 drop. The 3 stoppers is always going to be an issue somewhere, and that's pretty much what happened. I went and picked up the load. First drop, I don't believe I had any issues. I think they had me in and out in maybe 30 minutes to about 45 minutes. I get to the second drop. It's a Tyson plant, and this place smells like straight ass, man. Like, I could not stand the smell. I was making sure it wasn't me. I'm like, oh god damn, I'm sitting over here smelling myself, making sure it wasn't me. And I go and check in. I tell them, I said, hey, you know, I'm checking in with such and such. I have 2 stops on the trailer. I said, so, you know, 1 stop is yours, and then I have another stop after here. So it takes these people about 6 hours to get me unloaded. And once they give me the go-ahead that I'm good to go, I pull up, you know, go and look in the back to see how many pallets I had left. Because I'm like, all right, well, the first stop only took off like 4,000 pounds. And this next stop, I feel real light. When I pull up, I go and look in the back of the trailer. The damn trailer's empty. So now I'm just like, wow, what the fuck? So I go back inside. Well, I back into the dock. I go inside. I said, hey, your guys unloaded my whole trailer, and I still had another stop to go to. So, I mean, it was kind of funny, but I was also irritated at the same time. Because it's like, you know, I've already been here a long time. My clock is steady running, and it smells like straight ass around here. So, it took them, I say, maybe another 30, 45 minutes to put 2 pallets back on the damn truck. And once they did that, I was on my merry way. I get to my last stop. They unload the 2 pallets. I don't believe I had any problems. And then went to the next delivery, or the next pickup. I go pick up the next pickup, and it's somewhere in Oklahoma going to Memphis, Tennessee. I go and pick up this load, and man, this was like the load from hell right here. So long story short, I pick up this load, get to my delivery, and the people were like, oh, give us a little bit, you know. And then come to find out, the people done loaded me with the wrong shit. So I had to drive back to where I got loaded. They unloaded the whole trailer, loaded me up with the right stuff, and then I had to drive back to Memphis to get unloaded. And man, if I tell you, like, just that whole process, it was irritating. And it's like I had to make sure TransAm was gonna pay me for that, because their study said, like, when they calling me telling me this stuff, it's like, yeah, so just start heading back. I was like, well, I'm not gonna head back until I see in the tablet that, you know, those miles that I gotta drive back, that I'm gonna get paid for that. Because if you don't have it on there that I'm gonna get paid for it, for all you know, all I know, I could have drove 500 miles back the other way and not getting paid for it at all. And the issue was not my fault. You know, it was on the guy that signed us in, and he ended up swapping our information and our trailer numbers and everything. And it just really didn't make no sense. I'm just gonna assume the dude wasn't paying attention. Maybe he had an off day, I don't know. So by this time, I believe I'm going into my 2nd week. Still haven't been home yet. I'm starting asking them, like, hey, you know, when are y'all planning on getting me home? I'm in Oklahoma. You know, it's not too far from Houston. What's up? So after we finally get that load figured out, I think it took like 3 days to deal with that load. And they sent me a load up to Chicago area, Illinois. And once I get up there, now I'm irritated, because it's like, once I deliver that load, that load, I got up there, delivered a load, picked up another load, or was picking up another load, and that load was going to, oh no, they sent me a load from that area going to West Virginia, and I flat out told them no, because now by this time, I know I'm missing some stuff. I skipped over some weeks, but I don't remember exactly everything that happened. All I'm gonna say is, they started sending me loads to West Virginia and some other places, and I told them, nah, I'm not going there. And they're like, oh, well, we have you scheduled to be home this Friday. And that's what it was when I kept asking them, like, you know, hey, I'm ready, I need to go home. You know, I only brought clothes for 5 days. You know, I don't have my food, I don't have my microwave, I don't have my TV, I don't have anything in this truck but what I brought on the Greyhound, which was just my bag full of clothes, you know, and I did have some food, but it was like some sandwiches and noodles and stuff, which, I mean, the trucks are equipped with refrigerators, but that's it. So, you know, I was pretty much spending my money to buy food and eat, which, I mean, that's not a problem. I mean, you have to do that, but I'm usually one of the ones that'll stack up in the truck so I don't have to buy out of the truck stops. And it got to the point to where they sent me, once I kept declining those loads, like, I'm not going there, I need to be going home. And they finally sent me a load from Illinois to Oklahoma, back down to Oklahoma. So what I did was, once I got to Oklahoma, I was trying to fill up the truck, but they only allow you to fill so many gallons in certain places. So the place I got to, I filled up at a Flying J, and they only gave me like access to like 48 gallons or 47 gallons or some shit like that. So it's like you're not even getting enough fuel to even get a free shower, you know, or anything. And so I was sitting here thinking like, damn, like they over here micromanage the hell out of you to where you're not getting no free showers, no points, no nothing, man. You're not getting anything working here. And they're not even keeping me running, because I had one load that went to a Walmart. It was 300 miles, and they made me sit on that load for 2 days. And so I ended up doing a 34-hour reset while sitting on that load, because they were stating, oh, well, if you deliver that load early, that's going to be counted as delivering late, and you're going to get a service failure. And so what I ended up doing was I sat at that Walmart till midnight, and I put it on PC, and I drove over there, because I was literally less than a mile away. And I got in there, I said, hey, man, you know, what's the deal with us not being able to deliver early? And he goes, well, we don't have a problem with y'all delivering early. That must be something with your carrier. And I was like, wow. And it was a drop and hook too, which it really didn't make no sense. Why do I need to sit on a load that's a drop and hook? It's going to sit on the fucking yard, so it might as well just go ahead and go. But I didn't even stress it. The thing is, once they seen I was getting closer and closer to the delivery, that's when they started sending me the messages saying I cannot deliver early. And at that time, that night, I think I was going to make it around 11 p.m. And I had to sit there for a whole 24 hours and wait till midnight of the next day to deliver that load. And then they didn't send me another load after I delivered, so I had to wait till the morning time, which I think they ended up sending me a relay. I had to go relay with another driver that was like 200 miles up the road. I PC'd that whole fucking way there, man. I was irritated, and I had already at that time made up in my mind that I was going to go ahead and leave and go back to Snyder, because Snyder had been calling me anyways, saying, hey, you know, we saw you had left. Is there anything that we can do, you know, to get you back? So I was like, man, fuck it. I'm gonna just go back to Snyder. I already know the system. The money was decent over there. I talked to them. They said they would change my DBL to where I would have to deal with the same person that I felt was retaliating against me and all that crap. So next thing I know, that's when I ended up going to Chicago, and they made me do a relay from the relay I just picked up with a lease driver. And this driver, I gave them my trailer. The driver didn't even have a fucking trailer. So then they sent me on a goose hunt looking for another trailer. So that right there had me irritated, because I'm like, damn, why y'all couldn't send this driver who's literally sitting here waiting on me? Why you couldn't send him to go at least get a trailer, so then we could have just swapped, you know? So that was irritating. You know, I actually talked to that driver, who was pretty cool, and that's when they ended up sending me. I ended up getting the load from Illinois to Oklahoma. So once they sent me the load to Oklahoma, I had already made up in my mind that I was going home. It had already been about almost 3.5 weeks now at this time, and I still haven't been home. And granted, I'm getting paid 50 cents a mile. They was barely running me. I was getting like maybe 1,500 miles. It wasn't even 1,500 miles. So I was already irritated, like, damn, y'all paying so much to be a Texas regional driver, but you're not even running me. Like, I've sat more than I drove. Like, in those 3 weeks, I've yet to once fill up the truck all the way, and I think I only fueled like twice in those 3 weeks that I was there. And so I pick up the load from Illinois. I take it down to Oklahoma. Once I take it down to Oklahoma, I go on PC, and I PC 7 hours from where I was at home. I went straight home, and I didn't even mark that I delivered the load. I was waiting for a load or none of that crap. I went straight home. They called me the next day. Was like, hey, do you have a trailer? I said, yeah. They're like, all right, so when are you planning on going back to work? I was like, well, I'm planning to come back out on Monday. And they were like, all right, cool, you know. So Monday morning came around, And they sent me a load early as shit. It was like 6:30 in the morning. They sent me a load, and it was picking up probably like 20 or 30 minutes from my house. But I had already made arrangements to go and do my DOT physical. So I called them. I said, hey, this load y'all want me to pick up? Y'all want me to pick it up at 8? I said, I have an appointment for my deal to renew my DOT physical card or medical card or whatever it's called. I said, can we push the load back for me to pick it up at noon? He instantly gave me a service failure through the tablet. And I was like, well, damn, I'm trying to make sure I'm making myself eligible to drive. And all you worried about is that I'm going to be a couple hours later. You act like you can't reschedule the load for me to pick up. So long story short, they're like, yeah, go ahead, pick it up later. But like I said, they gave me a service failure. And I just thought it was funny. I went and did my DOT physical and everything. And, I was good on that. And at that time, I was had already made up my mind that I was going to go take the truck back. So my initial plan was to pick up this load from Houston, in Pasadena, and it was going to Tyler, Texas. And then from Tyler, I was just going to take the truck back to Rockwall, and I was going to get me a bus back home. And well, what happened was I go to pick up this load, and the people were like, oh, this load don't even exist. I'm like, what? Because they had gave me a different load. They're like, oh, this load don't exist. So when I called them, they're like, hang tight. I called TransAm, they're like, hang tight. So I think I sat there for like almost 2 hours, and they called me and was like, oh, something's going on with that load. We canceled it. We're going to put you back on the same load from this morning that you wanted to pick up at noon, but now they want me to pick it up tomorrow. So I literally just wasted a whole day that I could have literally just stayed home for. So once they said that, I asked him, I said, am I going to get paid for any layover or detention pay or anything? If I'm not mistaken, he said no. So I was like, so what the fuck am I supposed to do now? And they were like, just hang tight. So I sent them a message over the tablet and was like, I'm finna just bring the truck back to Rockwall, and I can't do this no more. And nobody ever replied back to me or anything. So that's what I did. I drove from Houston to Rockwall. I parked the truck in the lot. Well, on my way to Rockwall, I went ahead and booked me a bus ticket back to Houston. I took the truck up there. I mean, I cleaned the truck out and everything. I didn't really have anything in the motherfucker anyways, but just one bag. And my sleeping bag. That was it. So, dropped the truck trailer off. After that, I left the fuel card in there. I pretty much left it the way I got it. And that was it. And I believe they called me a couple of days later. By the time they called me, I was already back with Schneider. And, if I'm not mistaken, they was just trying to make sure. I don't remember why they called me. I know they was calling to make sure something. I don't remember exactly what it was. But, yeah, I had left them, man, and went back to Schneider, man. I couldn't do it. That was my experience with them. Now, some other things I will add. If you're a new driver and you're coming into this industry, you have to understand that TransAm is a second chance company. Okay, so if you have a bad driving record, maybe a bad criminal record, and you just got your CDL trying to get into the industry, or you you somewhere else and you fucked up and you just trying to redeem yourself, then that is the only way I could see somebody going there. Because, so for example, if you're starting out in the trucking, I would not go anywhere that's going to pay me less than 38 cents a mile. I'm sorry. Granted, you got companies that'll start you out at 40 something cents a mile, 50 cents a mile doing flatbed, if that's what you want to do. I like dry van. I've done reefer, I've done dry van, I've done flatbed, I've done hot shot. For me, dry van is good for me. Where I'm at now, I'm mostly hauling hazmat now, for the most part. And hey, it's fine. Get paid a little bit more with the same amount of work. Just can't go through any downtown major cities, which is not a problem anyways. Because if you're using a truck GPS, for the most part, it's gonna route you around it anyways. Once again, new drivers, you're thinking about TransAm, some things you need to know. You're gonna train on the yard for 3 weeks. They are going to push leasing a truck to you. They are going to tell you that if you lease a truck, that you're going to have more freedom. They will tell you that they will make sure you get loaded first. So the loads the way they dispatch their loads or give out their loads. They give the best loads to the lease drivers, and then they worry about the company drivers. Let me first tell you, if you're just coming into trucking, and obviously if you're coming into it and you want to own your own truck, it's never going to happen at TransAm. You're never going to own that truck. And if you get the trainer person that we had, who used to be a lease driver and who is now a training person in the classroom or whatever, she will tell you up front that you will never own that truck. Okay, so if you get one of them brand new trucks and you somehow last 5 years leasing with them, at the end of that 5 years, there's gonna be a balloon payment that more than likely you won't have. And I'm just being real. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer or anything. More than likely, you won't have it. If you go home with them while leasing that truck, more than likely you are going to come back out in the hold, meaning that you're going to have a negative paycheck, to where once you start making money, you're going to have to pay that negative part first before you even see the paycheck. A lot of people didn't know that. A lot of people still don't know that or understand it. I can't explain it because I'm not a lease driver. I don't ever plan to lease a truck. I already have my own truck. I have not posted videos of it yet, but I will. Like I said, you do not have any trainers out over the road. So if you mess up, you're going to have to figure it out yourself. Like I said, you're training on the yard for 3 weeks. I believe you get paid $50 a day during orientation. If you're doing the 3-week orientation or training, I believe it's still $50 a day. You get breakfast from the hotel, which you're going to get a little muffin and a little juice. Because of COVID going on, they don't have the continental breakfast like they used to. What else we got? The main thing is they're going to push leasing on you guys, man. And anybody with common sense, they are going to tell you the thing about them, they didn't lie, at least for the leasing part. They're gonna tell you what the truck payment is, your fixed costs. I mean, they're gonna tell you that. And if you are smart enough, like I did, I pulled out a calculator right then and there. Now, if you're a regional driver like I was, you don't get the option to lease. Trust me, you're not gonna want to lease. You pull the calculator out and do the math. You're going to make between $700 and $1,200 a week leasing a truck from them, and that's if they keep you running. If you're leasing, getting paid by the mile, you're not going to make a decent amount of money because you're technically running like a company driver. Okay, if you are going to lease, and this is going to be my only tip when it comes to leasing, if you are going to lease, you need to be getting paid a percentage. Okay, that's it. If you're gonna lease a truck and get paid by the mile, if you do the math, if you run most companies that leasing, I mean, you're getting paid $1 a mile, point blank period. Maybe $1.25, but you're getting paid around an average of $1 a mile. If you run 3,000 miles a week in a governed truck, more than likely, you're gonna make $3,000. Your fixed cost is probably gonna be around $1,000 a month. So now that leaves you $2,000. So now you have $2,000 left, but now you got to take away your fuel. And on average, if you're running 3,000 miles a week, you're going to spend between $800 and $1,100 a week in fuel. So right then and there, that leaves you $1,200 to $900 left to be put in your bank account. And you're going to be a 1099 driver, so you have no taxes coming out. So then, you know, you're going to be like, damn, I'm making $900 or $1,000 a week on a 1099. I mean, your taxes coming out, you're probably going to be putting up or need to put up about $200 to $300 a week from each check. So then now you're down to $600 to $800. I mean, it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And then if that truck breaks down, granted, more than likely, if you're with a mega carrier, they will help you pay it. But you're going to pay them that money back. They're going to take it out of your settlements, where they take it out all in one big portion or they take it out in increments of payments. So, man. So the question is TransAm as bad as they say? The answer is yes, man. That company is bad news. I went there and tried it out. Like I said, they wanted me to come over at 31 or 32 cents a mile. I told them no, ain't no way in hell I would run for that, because if you did the math of 31 cents a mile times 3,000 miles a week, let me find a calculator right here. So we have 3,000 miles times 31 cents. That's $930. I know that's backwards, but I did the math for you. That's $930. And then once you take out your taxes, I mean, you probably have a $750 paycheck, maybe $800. And that's if you get to 3,000 miles a week. Like I said, I was there for 3 weeks on Texas Regional getting paid 50 cents a mile, and I didn't even come nowhere near 2,000 miles. So, I mean, you know, do your research. Your new drivers coming in, if you have a clean criminal background record, you should not be going to TransAm. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap this up. Like I said, man, make sure you do your research. TransAm Trucking, would I personally recommend them? No. Would I recommend them as going to them as a company driver? No. Would I recommend them going to them as a lease driver? Hell no. The only way I would recommend TransAm is pretty much for what I was doing, which was Texas Regional. That's 50 cents a mile. I mean, you know, you got some guys that are doing Texas Regional that claims they're getting some decent amount of miles. I don't know. Like I said, I went over there and tried it out for myself. It wasn't happening for me. TransAm also has some type of regional division going on in Florida that has a guaranteed pay. I believe the same thing in Kansas. They have some type of division going on with a guaranteed pay. That is the only way I would recommend TransAm. Other than that, if you're going to run OTR with them as a company driver, you know, 30-some cents a mile, or a lease driver that's getting paid around 80-some cents a mile, it ain't worth it, man. Like I said, do your research. You know, they tell you guys, oh, you know, when you're a lease driver, you have a lot more freedom. I mean, honestly, when you go to any mega carrier, you have a lot of freedom. You know, their only selling point is, oh, you get to decline loads. But I mean, you know, when you're new, I mean, you pretty much want to go everywhere so you can at least say, okay, I've been there, I did that, I've done that. You know, because coming into trucking, a lot of guys, you know, they dread New York. I've been to New York a number of times. Do I want to go back? Hell no. But will I? Yeah. I wouldn't go back to New York in my truck because it's a stick shift. This company truck, it's automatic. Hey, that's fine. I'll do it. But like I said, man, please do your research. You know, a lot of people are getting in the trucking industry and they're not understanding what's going on. So they get in and go to a company like TransAm, and then they sit there and bash all the truck drivers out there. They bash all these trucking companies out here. They sit there and, you know, oh, truck drivers don't make no money, and, you know, y'all just making up stuff. I almost lost my house. I almost lost my car driving for that company. I mean, hey, you got to do your research, man. It's literally, it takes you a few seconds to sit there and say, how many miles are your drivers averaging? What are you paying per mile? And then pull out your calculator and do the math. You know, when I started with Schneider, I came in at 38. I was actually going to come in at 36, but I told them that was too low. I came in at 38 cents a mile. Said I'd be averaging between 2,800 to 3,000 miles a week. I did the math. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, I'm okay with that. You know, and I set it up and did what I had to do to where I made what I felt like was decent money to me. So, TransAm, man, that is a starter company. That is also a second chance company. Like I said, if you have a clean criminal background record, you have a clean driving record, you are squeaky clean, nothing wrong, no accidents in your personal vehicles, no nothing, man. You should not be over there. I'm sorry, you just shouldn't. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and end the video here. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. You know, if you like what I'm doing here, trying to push these videos out. I've actually tried to record this video like fucking 4 times, man. Phone overheated once and started getting phone calls here and there, and every time I would start recording and I get down the road, somebody calling and the camera just cuts off. So we're gonna go ahead and keep them coming. But yeah, man, just make sure you do your research. Like I said, coming into the industry, you're new. I wouldn't accept anything less than 38 cents a mile. Yeah, you're new. You might not have actual experience out there, but I mean, you need to know your worth. You know, in 2015, when I was getting into trucking, I applied to CR England, and they offered to pay me 28 cents split. And you had to team drive or something like that for 9 months plus sign a contract. I told them hell no. Same thing with CRST. I don't even know how I never applied to CRST, and they called me and was like, yeah, we can do this, but you got to team drive. And I'm like, I'm not team driving for nothing. They're like, the only way you don't have to team drive is if you go to flatbed. And I no, didn't want to do it. I've done flatbed already. That's not my cup of tea. So like I said, we'll go ahead and catch you guys in the next video, man. Make sure y'all stay tuned, because I'm gonna keep throwing the videos out for y'all. If you have any suggestions or questions or any videos that you want me to make, just go ahead and, you know, drop a message, email, whatever. Let me know what's up, and if I know anything on it, I'll go ahead and make a video on it, or, you know, I'll try to reply back to the comments. If I don't know anything on it, I mean, I'll pretty much just tell you, hey, I don't really know, I'm sorry. If you are a new driver and you're looking for help or any tips as far as driving wise, go on Facebook. If you aren't already, new CDL drivers, there's a Facebook group. We're in there. We try to help out as many drivers. Even if you're an experienced driver and you're looking at this video to want to get any information on TransAm, you can go in there and ask questions. For the most part, we try to help everybody out. We have over 10,000 drivers in there, from inexperienced to new drivers to experienced to, you know, recruiters. So there's help out there for you. And, you know, in the group, we try to make people, we try to make it as easy for people to get the information they need. I'm real active in that group. I try to comment on anything that can help anybody, especially if you have any questions and I know the answer to. And yeah, man, just go ahead and do that. New CDL drivers group on Facebook if you need any help. And yeah, we'll catch you in the next video, guys. Make sure y'all stay tuned.